For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the Insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber. This is Derrick Evans, and nature is healing. We're sending troops to the border. American jobs are returning. The global homo empire is gone. A message has clearly been sent.
Absolutely. And hey, guys, I just want to let you know right now I'm really sick. Bear with me today. But as always, guys, like, share, subscribe. We got an awesome show lineup for you guys. If you're watching live, hop in the chat. We want to go ahead and do that right now. We got Kelly's song in the Rumble chat, and then in the X chat on my feed here, we got the Ninth Amendment, Average American, Danelle, and Thaddeus, and Fed Up Conservative. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys share the video out.
Yeah, I think we can probably rule out monkeypox, but hopefully it's not the bird flu, or they're going to make you a patient zero.
For sure.
Well, before we get into some of the more serious stories we want to cover, Canada's new prime minister is out there putting it down, and there's hope for Canada. So let's just go ahead and roll this. This is hilarious.
First day on the job, President Trump signed an executive order. The U.S. government only recognizing two genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well, I'm not aware of any other genders than men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
There's personally, I am a man. I am people who say cis man. There are people there who, they say they're gender neutral. Well, you are a man. Yes. There are people there who say they're gender neutral. Yeah. They say they're gender neutral. They're a trans person. Is that something that you would recognize here? Whereas in the States, at least with their U.S. government, the way they're seeing it, there's only two.
I'm only aware of two, but I mean, if you come up with another list, then you're welcome to do that. But I'm aware of two. And as far as I'm concerned, we should have a government that just minds its own damn business and leaves people alone.
That is how it's done. Just stick in reality. Make these people look like the fools they are when they want you to acknowledge the 126 newfound genders. Apparently, Facebook will be revoking their policy, too. It's going to go down to two genders there. So wait for that in a few days.
I just love how matter of fact he was about it and put it back in their court. Like, well, if you have other ones, let me know and we'll be happy to look at it. And obviously the guy can't name any other genders because these people are crazy at the end of the day. I mean, that's exactly what they are. They're crazy out here trying to do this. And it's all virtue signaling. If they really believed it, he would have a list of additional genders that he's recognizing, but he doesn't, because all he's doing is virtue signaling right now. I think it's also interesting to show just how much influence America has around the world, and especially our neighbors, at the fact that they're only asking that question because of President Trump's policies here in America. So I think it's awesome. And I think Canada, much like America, is ready for some change and ready for somebody who's going to push freedom. I think they're ready to elect someone who's going to push freedom up there.
Yeah, exactly. And just get away from all this insanity and nonsense that, we've been bending over backwards for the last several years now for these lunatics, these crazy people, science deniers. Let's call them what they are. So, it's good. It's good to see that. And it's good to see this courage spreading around the world to stand against this liberal economic order and this just nonsense that we've been forced to pretend is reality for the last several years. I got one other video I want to play before we get into the stories. This one's a little more serious. Some of you guys might have already seen this. It's Speaker Johnson discussing a meeting that he had with Biden before leaving office. So let me go ahead and roll this.
I understand Biden, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously, has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say personal observation? What kind
well,
of
I
thing
mean,
did you see?
It's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked. I became Speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on. And I started requesting a meeting with the president because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. The Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill press corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the Speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the Speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the Speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
Okay, so here's my problem with this. Why did Johnson keep his mouth shut about this for over a year? I mean, this should have been out there last January, a year ago. This meeting occurred, I guess it was 3 days in 3 days will be a year ago. So, but Johnson kept this to himself. This is vital information the country needed. And and he kept it to himself. That Biden is totally checked out, couldn't remember an executive order that he supposedly signed 3 weeks before this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the key things there is Johnson says Biden wasn't lying. He genuinely believed that. Well, here's the difference. Johnson was lying. He lied to all of us, and he sat there like a coward, like the coward that he is, and he allowed this stuff to continue happening and allowed them to continue putting our country at risk and pushing through this agenda through the House, the whole 9 yards. I would say I'm disappointed, but I mean, I didn't have much respect for him anyways, especially after he not only allowed FISA to run, but he voted for FISA. To me, that was like a never forgiving moment for me personally on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous that he wanted to play these reindeer games. He's just as guilty as Biden and Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer and everybody else for pretending that Joe Biden was actually fit and capable of doing what he was doing. So he's just as guilty as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then here's my other question. Like, did someone within Biden's circle lie to him about what this executive order was, and he just blindly signs it? Did they tell him that this was about a research or a study or providing funding for that, whatever he thought it was? Is this Biden's brainworms and him not remembering what the order said, or did they literally lie to him, and that's why he's confused about what it is that he signed in, I guess that would be like late December of 2023, because I mean, it could really go either way. And if Biden's team also lied to him, well, you know what, he should have read the executive order, but at the same time, you'd also expect the people around you to be giving you the truth, or at least the gist of what's in there, and not lying about the purpose of the bill that they're about to force you to sign before they give you your ice cream.
Well, here's the thing. If you've ever been around anybody with dementia, even if he did read that, it's very possible he forgot about it later on. Could be possible that they discussed a different executive order that was going to do research on it, and he's just conflating the two. I mean, and this really drives home the point that a lot of us, and the media attacked all of us for saying these things and asking this question, but it was a genuine question at the time, and I think even more of a serious concern now that this has come out. But a lot of us were wondering who's running the country right now. We knew that Joe Biden wasn't running the country. Like, who's running the country? Who's in charge? And it obviously wasn't Biden, just based on that story right there, if you believe Speaker Johnson. And I believe that he's telling the truth about that. So, on that note, it's like, who was running the country? It's a miracle that our country survived the last few years, to be honest with you, and got to this point. And it really goes to show that we're in a much bigger issue at this country than Trump's got a much bigger mess to clean up than we ever really imagined, and it's going to take a long time to do that.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right there. But the process has already begun. Just the beginning. Trump plans 10,000 troops on the border to restore national security. Now, this includes the 1,500 that have already been dispatched. And as you guys are now well aware, Trump has already stopped all immigration at the southern border, and no one is to be allowed through. It's only for people that for shipping, things like that, people that already have reasons or legal passes to enter and leave the United States. Until the problem's sorted, there will be no more immigration through our southern border. Again, exactly what we need. And we're only a few days into the presidency, and it's already started.
Well, and you already got the media trying to gaslight people, pull on heartstrings, trying to make people feel sorry. They're showing these families. I'm telling you right now, I don't have a bit of sympathy for any of these illegals who are still in this country, or anybody who's still at our border attempting to get in. You've known since November that this was going to happen, and you, for whatever reason, continued to stay or continued walking this way. I don't really care. You walked here. You can turn around. And I don't care if you walk 1,000 miles back the other direction barefoot. I couldn't care less, to be honest with you. You're not welcome in America right now. I mean, period. End of discussion. And I don't really care whose feelings that gets hurt. I don't care if someone wants to say I'm an evil person. I don't care about any of that. It's time to put America first. And the only way we can do that is to clean up this mess in our country right now and secure our border.
Yeah, bingo. We need to restore order first. Then we can talk about some sort of immigration reform. ICE in Boston cracks down on criminal aliens. MS-13 murder suspects and Haitian gang member with 18 convictions nabbed in major raid. And again, we're going to see a lot more stories like this breaking over the next few days. And then, Derrick, where was this video from?
The video that I sent you is in Chicago of a raid. But on this story right here, really quick, it's a long video, so I didn't pull it. But one of these Haitians right here in that Boston raid is seen on video saying F Trump, Biden for forever sort of thing, and then he gets deported. I think it's hilarious, and just you can't even make this up at this point. So I've laughed about it pretty hard, even though it hurts to laugh right now. I laughed about it all morning.
And here's the other video. And that's just the beginning in Chicago. The Homan's made it very clear that's going to be a key area they target. And Brandon Johnson and, I just forgot the governor's name, over in Illinois, they've both said that they're going to continue to resist. Well, they're going to continue to resist from a jail cell. We've just reinforced this law where anybody caught aiding and abetting illegal aliens will be prosecuted, including elected officials. And Homan and Trump have both made this very clear. There are no more sanctuary cities. We're done. It's over. No more games. You guys can't pretend a law doesn't exist and just selectively enforce things. That's not what you were elected to do. So they're going to pay the price. And I know some people are saying, oh, Trump's not actually going to arrest mayors and governors. I'm not so sure about that. I think Homan and others are going to actually enforce this law. Now, whether we can get a conviction to stick in some of these areas, maybe not. But the people around Chicago are furious about this too. So we'll see what happens and who all does get swept up and arrested. But I think after the first it happens with the first couple mayors or governors, everybody else is going to reconsider their position on being a sanctuary city or sanctuary state.
Yeah, the Trump administration has already directed the DOJ to investigate these mayors and governors who are refusing to cooperate with the deportations. And I believe that we have to make a couple of arrests, if nothing else, to send a message to the others. And to be honest with you, they deserve to be arrested. It's treason. It's literally the definition of treason, what they're doing. And they need to be held accountable for that. I'm sick of the patty cake politics. I'm sick of the kumbaya. I'm not here for unity. I'm not here to play the little DC reindeer games with these people. I'm here to push forward the mandate that the American people gave President Trump, come hell or high water. I don't really care what way we get that done, but it's time to get it done. And if arrests need to be made in order to do that, then start making arrests tomorrow. I'd be all about that.
Yeah, bingo. And then the media is already out there trying to push the sympathy narrative. They have since day one, literally since Trump's inauguration day at about, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're starting to show the videos from the border with everybody crying because their CBP1 appointments have been canceled. Well, you know what? That just spared us the expense of having to throw them out of the United States and back to Mexico or wherever they came from. But the New York Times has jumped in on this. New York Times complains that labeling Mexican cartel terrorist organizations will hurt the U.S. economy. Yes, it'll hurt our economy to label the cartels that have been smuggling people and fentanyl and everything else into our borders, responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans and the enslavement of God knows how many children and others as the cartel continues to control them after they're smuggled into the United States. So I don't know. I guess the New York Times once again has sided with America's enemies, or who knows? They are owned by Carlos Slim. Maybe he's getting kickbacks from Sinaloa or one of the other cartels. Maybe we should look into that.
You can't even make this up at this point. They literally printed that, and that was their headline, just so you guys are aware. It wasn't like it was buried in the story. Like, that was the purpose of the story. You can't hate the fake news media enough at this point. It's unbelievable. They ought to be labeled, properly labeled, because this is what they are, as government propaganda, because that's exactly what they are, at left-wing propaganda at that. And they need to be properly labeled as such to give everybody a fair warning as to just how crazy these people really are.
Well, here's another story our media is already freaking out about, and it isn't just to India. The Trump effect. India agrees to take back every one of its citizens illegally living in the United States. And they're not the only country that's reached out and now confirmed this, either since Trump was elected or since he was inaugurated. But again, it shows they're willing to do the right thing. They know the people have violated our laws. They want to continue to have a good relationship with the United States. So Modi has agreed to take back anybody caught here illegally, as he should. The left, and again, their allies in the media want all these all these other countries to stand against Trump and refuse to take back their own people. Well, anyone that does that, I'm sure we've got a lot of parachutes lying around, and we've got a lot of C-130s. I guess we're just going to have to airdrop them back in on the Capitol if they're going to refuse to take them back the normal way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of these places are scared of the tariffs that President Trump has promised to implement. And so it definitely makes sense for them from a business standpoint and an economic standpoint to take these people back as opposed to having to deal with the tariffs. Because guess what? These people, and even from a humane standpoint, because here's the thing, they're leaving America regardless. We are kicking them out of this country. They are your citizens. And if you don't want to take them back, then they're just, I don't know where they're going to go. I don't really care where they go, but it's probably going to be a place much worse than India if you're from India. So from a humane standpoint, and somebody who cares about your citizens, you should be welcoming them back with open arms as opposed to us dropping them off in the middle of the rainforest somewhere. I don't care where they take them to be honest with you. I couldn't care less. Get them out of our country, and whatever happens from there is not my business.
Exactly. And remember, families should stay together, and therefore they need to be deported together. All right, guys, we got to take a quick break here from our sponsors. We'll be right back with even more.
Play your trump card and support Make America Great Again with the Donor Deck. Get your hands on 52 exquisite playing cards, each with powerful quotes from scripture and stunning artwork. Plus, showcase your MAGA pride with a beautiful display case and a reversible challenge coin. By purchasing the Donor Deck, you become an official donor, contributing to our cause and helping President Trump reclaim the White House. Get your Donor Deck today and play your part in making America great again.
Go to the Patriot.tv store and get your Donor Deck now.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs, Patriot TV is launching a brand new TV series showcasing American-made products, and your business could be featured. Whether you sell your products online on Etsy or Shopify and dream of reaching millions of viewers on smart TVs like Samsung, Sony, TCL, and LG, or apps like Roku, Android, and Apple TV, this is your chance. We're searching for US-based businesses offering all types of products and services proudly made in the USA. If you've ever wanted to showcase your products on TV like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, now's your opportunity. Support our American economy, grow your business, and be seen by loyal Patriot viewers across the country. Know someone with a business or have a business yourself? Don't miss out. Contact us at supportingpatriots.com today. Be a guest on this new exciting TV series. Let's put your American-made products in the spotlight.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing your financial information with big government. Join them as owners in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the great Patriots here on Patriot TV is by supporting our sponsors. You can do that by going to patriot.tv, clicking on the Insurrection, and then finding a sponsor below that you'd like to support to help keep us on the air, bringing you the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. Oops, let me pull this next thing up. And it isn't, the victories obviously have not just been on immigration. Another story starting to break, and we're getting a lot of examples of this, is jobs returning, the Trump effect. Automaker Stellantis announces reopening of Illinois plant, will build new trucks in Detroit. I've also heard that the parent company of Daimler Chrysler will also be opening new facilities in Detroit. And obviously we had that huge announcement we'll discuss more later with investment for AI and servers in Texas. This is going to be primarily private money. But again, the message has been sent. America is open for business once again. We're no longer going to be over-regulating and standing in the way of new companies, new ideas, and new opportunities for Americans. And again, we need these things to return. We need to start producing our own goods here at home. We can't keep empowering China. If anything, we need to bring jobs back and start producing our own goods, help push them over the edge, because they are on the verge of an economic collapse there, and they've clearly aligned themselves as America's enemy.
This is huge, man, and especially for that, not just that area, but the whole entire country, to bring these manufacturing jobs back. Because people got to remember, there's also secondary jobs that come from that, from bringing those there. The suppliers and such like that. It's probably going to have a trickle down effect. And not only to mention that when the people have money, now they're going out to eat and all these other things. So there's a lot of secondary jobs that come with that. And these are good jobs. This is what America was like in the 70s. You know, you could graduate high school and you could go get you a job and raise a family on that. And that's been taken from us over the last little bit. And we need to get it back. President Trump promised he would. He's already getting it back. Guys, I don't know if you really have realized, I mean, it's been what, three business days he's been in office. Look at all the things that he's already done this quick. I mean, I'm mind blown, honestly. I'm not even joking. Like I knew a lot of these things would happen, but I thought it was going to take, you know, a couple weeks at least to do a lot of these things. And he's done it all in 3 business days. It's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, and again, like there's much more to come. This is just the start. We're going to see a push inviting other manufacturers back again to restore America, and deregulating some of these other industries and clipping the wings of agencies like the EPA and others that have stood in the way of progress here now for decades. This is going to lead to, you know, the next great American revolution, and increase the lifestyle of every person here. Now, there are going to be some bumps in the road. Obviously, we still have some extreme economic problems in our immediate future. They're going to have to be dealt with. Don't be surprised when you see a major stock market correction here, potentially very soon, unfortunately. But, you know, we are going to get through that, and America will be stronger and greater and remade whole again as the Trump presidency continues.
Absolutely. A quick shout out to Kim and Christy, The Journey, Austin. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I'm struggling today. Pita Chips. And if I missed you that time, I'll get you guys on the next one there. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we got Lionheart in the Ex-American News chat. Appreciate all you guys. But yeah, I mean, look, somebody said it in the chat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was Thaddeus. Says this truly is the beginning of the golden age of America. And that's really what it's shaping up to be right now in terms of getting these jobs back, which is also going to help restore a lot of communities that have been lost. And it's going to be life changing for a lot of people. And not only that, I believe it's a matter of national security to make as many things as we can inside our own borders. If COVID taught us anything, it should have been that in terms of the supply chain issues.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, we need to have a restored steel industry. We need to bring back coal. We need to make America energy dominant again, not just energy independent. We need to be dominant. We should be supplying our allies, and we should be working with countries that do align with us, like Canada and others, to make this a possibility. With going into Greenland and everything else that's on the horizon, you know, the future looks very bright right now. I think that's part of why the left is just going in absolutely insane. And here's another one our media is beginning to melt down on. Breaking: Mike Johnson to uncover full truth of J6 with new House subcommittee. So we're going to be doing an honest evaluation and look at what really happened this time, releasing a lot of documents. And again, our media is just going insane because this is going to break their narrative. It's going to uncover their lies and put it right in front of the American people again in an entirely different perspective. So watch as opinions change. Now that they know the truth of the matter, what happened behind the scenes, who made it possible. And let's not forget, Nancy Pelosi did not get one of those Biden inoculation pardons. So there's still the potential for at least some people to pay the price for things that they did.
Even better is this is, from what I was reading, this is a select subcommittee. So it's the same way that they did to us whenever they did their thing. Obviously, as a J6 prisoner, I'm super excited that they're going to, at least on the surface, do a real investigation into this. And it said that they're going to investigate things leading up to and on January 6th. I hope that they, even if it's a different subcommittee, will do some investigations into everything that happened after January 6th in terms of the weaponization of government, how they treated all of us. I'm telling you right now, those judges in D.C. need to be impeached. They should never be in charge of someone's life ever again. They've proven that they will abuse that with the rubber stamps of everything. And same for the prosecuting attorneys. They should be fired and never allowed to have that position ever again. But we need some investigations into that as well.
Yeah, I think they really ought to look into disbarment. And if they're going to look at things that led up to it, too, we need a real investigation into the 2020 election. The FBI did exactly 0 investigations into the claims. I guess they started one with the truck carrying a bunch of ballots headed to Pennsylvania. But then, for whatever reason, Barr prevented that from going forward. So time to look at the truth. And again, this is an opportunity to maybe reach across the aisle to some of the Democrats, start asking questions about 2024 and where these other, approximately 10 to 17 million voters disappeared from, that made Joe Biden the most popular president in U.S. history with, whatever it was, 82 million votes, or 89, I can't even remember the number now. But it's time for, it's time to look into that. Again, there's all kinds of irregularities. We were just supposed to pretend none of this happened. There's a lot of information out there. So let's get it in front of the American people. Let them know what really occurred in 2020 and 2024 and put an end to it now that we have the power and the control to do so. Well, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but California's on fire again already. Not that the last ones were out completely, but new fire explodes to over 10,000 acres north of LA. Now, I know Trump is headed there later this week. He's also planning on visiting North Carolina, but for goodness sakes, California, get it under control. I've heard that Trump is also planning to dispatch National Guard or military firefighters out there to try to deal with this. But again, California, once again, got caught with their pants down. It's their policies that led to this. They want to pretend it's global warming. Fine. I don't care what these moonbats say. But we all know it's because, they failed to maintain the forest floor. They failed to keep reserves filled with water. They sent water out to the ocean from where they had record rains for the last 2 years. So they were caught totally unprepared. There is zero reasons for your fire hydrants to run dry, unless it's personal failures of your administration. And that's, exactly what led to this.
It's funny because I'm watching Schiff and all these losers out there. They're like put out statements right now. A wildfire doesn't care if your state votes Democrat or Republican. Well, the fire might not care. You're correct, but the policy, the people should. The policies that have been implemented are from Democrats are what is allowing these things to get to the point that they are. And I'm sorry, but I don't think that that we should be sending them any money as long as they're continuing to spend their own money to protect illegals. If they want to keep their sanctuary state status and they want to spend millions and millions of their own dollars protecting illegals, then they can be on their own in terms of recovering from the fire. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see how you can steal the money of the people in North Carolina and send it out there to California when they're not even trying to help themselves right now because they're using their own money to harbor illegals, and they're not making any policy changes moving forward in terms of the water and everything else there in California. The whole thing's a mess, and hopefully people there are waking up to it.
Yeah, Pencil Neck is right. Fire is an inanimate object, kind of like a gun. It just does what it does. Fire burns things. And, it takes a person, though, to make the problem as bad as it is that leads to all the death and destruction that these fires have brought to California. So it's their inaction that's led to this. And again, Pencil Neck should know this. He's not a complete idiot. He's just a partisan. But, their inactions greatly influence this. So, yeah, I will agree with this, that at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do to 100% prevent forest fires. They're always going to happen, especially in a place like California where it's dry, there's lightning strikes, there's high winds, there's things like that. But the problem is that it's gotten this far out of control and you guys have been completely unable to stop it. And that is directly due to your inactions as governor there. And again, you got California put a 3-inch fish, the Delta smelt, over their people. And apparently that fish has been missing for 3 years. It's been MIA. No, they haven't been able to find him or see him for 3 years. So even your battle to save the Delta smelt was a failure, but you still put everybody's lives at risk in California by refusing to take the steps necessary to protect them from these wildfires.
Because it had nothing to do with that little tiny smelt. It's all about power and control. That's what it comes down to. They don't care about that. It's all their way to push out their tyranny. Think about it. They literally can't collect rainwater in California. I bet that would have been come in handy if a lot of people had gallons and gallons of water around their house during this time. That could have definitely helped us somewhat. But yeah, the California policies are crazy. But the question is, are the people who are there going to continue voting the way that they've been voting? And I know there's a lot of good people there in California, but as a whole, if they're going to continue voting for this, at some point you have to stop feeling sorry for them. I don't have the time to sit here and worry about people who don't want to help themselves. It's really frustrating to continue doing that.
Yeah, I do feel bad for the victims that have suffered and lost their houses and everything else. That's terrible. But again, your insurance company also tried to warn the government. Allstate held multiple meetings with their government saying that they either had to increase premiums to match risk or the government had to do something to mitigate the risk. And the government refused on both counts. So they started canceling policies. Again, it sucks for the people that are there, but you get what you voted for. And if you put these environmental psychopaths in charge of your lives, when in reality, they don't really care about the environment either. What they care about, like you said, is the power. And that's what they want. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Trump's headed there later. We'll see if Gavin Newsom runs out of the meeting crying or not. But, it is what it is at this point. We do have some other good news. Settle now and stop this ridiculous war. Trump threatens tariffs as Russia sees small window for a deal in Ukraine. And again, I think this is just to put some pressure on the Russians. It sounds like they are working out a deal already behind the scenes, and we may see a peace deal for Ukraine relatively soon. And I hope we do, because as Trump said over and over again, like the cost of human life, this needs to come to an end. We need to have peace once again in the region. We need to have stability in the region, and this will also get NATO under control, since they're trying to build a nuclear launch facility in Romania right now that the people don't want, that I'm sure the Russians don't want there either. So this is an opportunity for peace, to end the killing, and to bring stability back to Europe.
Well, as we had said before, I mean, Trump has already taken these measures to get things done, and he's hitting the ground running. I think the left is like, oh, he didn't do it within 24 hours. Well, I think that when you look at how much different things were before the election and after the election, they made it impossible to negotiate peace very quickly, because after Trump won, Biden continued to escalate things as much as he possibly could. And I believe he was doing that to try to make things harder for President Trump to come in and negotiate the peace. And so it's going to take a little time, but I mean, so far, promises made, promises kept. I have no doubt that Trump will get this done as well.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I'll say about Trump's first few days in office is he's, like the campaign slogan says, he's put America first. The majority of these executive orders and changes have been to restore America, whether that's been closing our borders, ending this LGBTQ nonsense, getting some of the regulatory agencies to back down, and removing many of the problems within the federal government. It's been America first. And, I do think solving the problems in Ukraine, the war there, will ultimately benefit America. But a priority is things here at home first. We need to get our own house in order before we can start worrying about people around the globe again.
Absolutely. I mean, it's pretty simple. America first. And that's really the major issue. And I think that Trump has been laser focused on that since taking office. It was addressing these needs to put America first, get us back on the right track with securing the border, deportations, announcing manufacturing jobs coming back, correcting a lot of the wrongs from the weaponization of government, the illegitimate Biden regime. A lot of things he's done early on, and all of it has been laser focused on putting America first. And I think that, once again, I mean, it's only been 3 days, and look at all the things that's been done. I can only imagine what the next 4 years are going to hold.
Yeah, I mean, this has already been the most impactful presidency in my lifetime, and it's only been the first few days. Look how much has already been accomplished. Well, guys, the hits just keep coming. CNN to lay off hundreds of employees report. Unfortunately, it sounds like most of their anchors are going to be spared from this. But CNN's not the only one. ABC and NBC are also looking at further cuts, along with the Washington Post and many other papers and news organizations around the country. And we've been covering this for, well, really since the election before. The loss of viewership, readership, and clicks from all these companies, because people are not buying the hustle anymore. They're not buying the lies and this constructed narrative. And I really think this goes back to something we've stated numerous times, that normies, people in the middle, when they saw how the election was being covered, where I don't remember the exact numbers now, I'll say it was 89% of coverage for Trump was negative, 87% of coverage for Kamala was positive. I may have those two flipped. I can't quite remember. It starts becoming obvious, even to the middle, that this is an orchestrated attack, that this is the deep state on full display. And it's also been a lot of the debunking that went on the alternative new media that they hate so much. It's shows like ours and others running these clips of them just lying through their teeth and then showing you the correct information, doing real fact checks. So their credibility is gone. It's just gone up in flames. And I don't think people are going to return no matter what changes they make.
I would agree with you. I mean, they're bleeding viewers very quick. They continue to lie to everybody, gaslight the American people. I think that Elon Musk buying X, which has allowed free speech for the most part on there, and the community notes. It's funny whenever CNN or somebody posts some bogus article and there's community notes on it. It's really highlighting the hypocrisy and the just how crazy these people really are. The legacy media is on their deathbed right now, and
Yes.
It couldn't happen to a better bunch of people because they deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. They've been abusing the power they were granted by the American people for years, and it's finally caught up with them. Thanks again to the internet and people like Elon Musk. I think these community note fact checks have been extremely impactful. I'm glad they're coming to Facebook as well, that they eliminated their deep state mouthpiece fact checkers and instead are going to go to the people. Let them point to articles that prove or disprove whatever the post may be and correct things. And again, I think this is just the start, that this is going to continue. Their entire operation is just going to get crushed because, again, the truth does always win in the end. It just sometimes takes us a while to get there. Guys, we got one more break to go to, so stay with us. We just need to bring in our sponsors again, and we'll be right back with more.
Have a new product or idea, whether it's already in production or just a concept. Whether you're an individual, a small business, or a medium-sized company, our upcoming show on Patriot TV is here to showcase it to millions and launch it in a big way. We're looking for businesses like yours to feature your product on our new show and pitch it to over 6 million followers, eager to support like-minded businesses. Whether it's a single product or a new product line, we have a platform to skyrocket sales. With powerful Patriot TV ads, targeted direct mail, and the influence of our dynamic show hosts, your product will get the attention it deserves. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Email us now at advertise@patriot.tv to secure your spot and watch your sales take off.
I couldn't give anything a higher endorsement.
I would be remiss had I not include Cardio Miracle on my very short list of secrets.
It's the real deal. It's a real product. It's not another supplement.
I'm operating about 6 to 8 hours, and I've noticed that being on this Cardio Miracle has made a huge difference.
Since I started taking Cardio Miracle about 8 months into it, the benefits have been fantastic.
If I get hungry, then I just have a Cardio Miracle.
Not only is it safe, but it's necessary to take Cardio Miracle to stay well.
This let me sleep. It's showing up more energy, more get up and go, and it's all because of what this company does.
For me as a doctor, Cardio Miracle is a staple.
Cardio Miracle to me is hope in a glass.
To try Cardio Miracle for yourself and get a special fan discount, go to the host page right now and click the link for Cardio Miracle.
Guys, once again, thank you for staying with us. And the best way to support our program and all the programs here on Patriot TV is by supporting our sponsors. We want to make America healthy again. Pick up some Cardio Miracle. It's better than pounding the caffeine like I'm used to doing. Gets you on a better track, and maybe your heart won't explode like Hunter Biden's probably will here one of these days. Next time he sucks up half a pound of cocaine when he's in a hotel room with a bunch of hookers. Well, here's another story that the left, and this has mostly been their foot soldiers, are extremely mad about. Trump blasts so-called bishop for ungracious sermon, demands apology from her and the Episcopal Church. Yeah, she went in there to lecture Trump on the trans kids and all the illegal alien invaders that are here in our country. Well, sorry, the American people spoke on both accounts. And, I want to remind you, Bishop Lady, even 68 to 70% of Democrats are in favor of mass deportation. So I'm sorry, this battle has already been lost and you are irrelevant. I know you tried to, make this all nice and whatever, but sorry, this is very insulting. You're talking down to him. And this is not the direction that America's going to go.
Well, there's a couple things here. First of all, I think they should probably lose their tax exempt status for preaching politics from the pulpit there, as if that's something that they threaten real Christian churches with all the time. And then the other thing is, it's sad how some of these churches, air quotes churches, have used their positions to speak with a forked tongue and deceive so many people. There's a special place in hell for someone who uses the pulpit to spread the word of Satan and deceive people the way that person has done. Nothing that they mention is Christ-like. None of that is falls under Christianity. I don't know what that they would call that. And then also, I think that this further proves the point that I've been saying for a long time, is that climate change and the LGBTQ movement should be officially labeled as a religion. And the reason for doing so would prevent them from being able to teach it in schools, because of separation of church and state. And they are religions. That's exactly what they are. They're little cults. They're little religions. They need to be properly labeled as such, so that we can actually kick them out of the schools for good.
Yeah, exactly. It is a religion because it's not based on facts, science, or reality. It's based on their feelings, what they want to accomplish. And at the end of the day, their goal, they don't really care about trans kids or these invaders. What they care about is holding on to power. And they'll do that by allowing millions of illegal immigrants to stay in blue states, to add to their seats in the House, and to get an undue amount of power because they're violating the law. And again, not to mention, these people are also being abused. The Democrat Party really likes their slaves. And these border invaders that will work for under wages, subpar wages to what an American will work for, that's just modern day slavery. You're bringing in people that are willing to work for $5 an hour instead of the 20 that you'll have to pay an American to do the same job. We covered this up in Springfield, Ohio, which I'm waiting for the raids to start up there. You got no idea. But we covered this when we were up there. We went to a lot of these companies, staffing agencies that are working with the NGOs to move illegal aliens into major employers like Aldi's and others in the area. And this gives them an out where they don't have to... they can pretend they have no idea that these are just the people that the staffing company brought us. When in reality, they're facilitating modern day slavery. So from the bottom up and the top down, we need to put a stop to this because, again, ultimately it harms Americans. It's also taking advantage of these people that have come over from wherever for a better life. So sorry, Pastor, but your old news, America has gone a very different direction.
Well, and on that same note, they put her on The View yesterday or whatever. You got all these people, all these lefties out there putting profile pictures on Facebook of I'm with her, and it's just the deception is up. Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I mean this from a Christian standpoint. It is truly sad how many of these people have been brainwashed into believing that what that person is teaching is actual Christianity. I mean, and they're being deceived, and it's scary and it's sad. That's happening. I mean, obviously, all you got to do is open up the book and read it. But a lot of people put trust and faith in someone who portrays himself to be a leadership role, promoting God and Christianity, and they're being deceived. But my question is how long until this person gets a book deal? I would imagine that's the next step here. Is they're going to create a book deal or something and glorify this person? It's unbelievable, and I'm so sick of them saying, "Oh, so heroic and so brave." Yeah, I'm surprised that she was able to survive. It was so heroic. I can't put her life at risk like that. I'm surprised that she even lived through the whole sermon. It's a complete joke, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I don't expect anything less out of these people. Well, we got another breaking story. U.S. government agencies caught censoring and blacklisting the Gateway Pundit and others with the help of Radical UK anti-conservative censorship group. So again, this is going on behind the scenes. They'd blocked numerous conservative or even just center news sources that were, reporting the truth on government websites, government computers, preventing them from going to honest news sources so that they can continue to maintain their narrative. Well, this is something that will rapidly be coming to an end. And of course, Heads are exploding. How can you bring in these white supremacist, xenophobic news agencies and poison our government employees with their information? Well, again, things are changing. America's in a very different place, and we are not buying their lies anymore.
It's just funny that they want to turn around and completely censor any opposition view from like their employees from even seeing that information. And I don't even know what you really say about that. I mean, the fact that they're doing that. I mean, it's kind of next level if you really think about what they're doing here. They're censoring government workplaces and such to where their employees are only hearing and seeing one side. How dare they attempt to think for themselves? And it's all about the culture that they've created inside these government agencies to push the left-wing extremist agenda at all costs. And they can't have these people seeing opposing views, because then they might not just fall in line and do what they're told to do.
Well, that's exactly what it is. If people have access to contrary information or facts that disprove whatever the liberal agenda is, then they tend to go with the truth because that aligns with what they see in reality. But if you control the narrative, control the facts that people are allowed to see, and you think that you're alone in your ideas when you look at something like this invasion, think, this is not good for me. It's not good for the country. It's not good for anybody. But if they censor and ban sources that are reporting this, or reporting all the damage that it's causing, then less people will be inclined to stand up. They'll think they're the only ones on the outside, and clearly everyone else must be right. I think that's part of what we're seeing with all these employees in D.C. flipping out right now about having to return to work and everything else. I mean, before the pandemic, didn't you have to report to a desk somewhere? So why is it now that that's a problem? And let's also not forget, it isn't just getting people back in front of their desks so efficiency can return back to normal, because depending on what government department you're talking about, we've seen as high as 40% decreases in efficiency for these government workers because they're at home, sitting there in their underwear, distracted by any little thing that pops up, playing with their dog, getting packages, ordering stuff on Amazon. They can't be counted on. But we also need to crack down on leakers and other people. We need them there where they can be monitored, and we can ensure they are not using the position that has been granted to them and the power that's been granted to them by the American people. They're not abusing that to stymie Trump's agenda and the American people's agenda, that they're not putting up roadblocks or leaking things to the media or doing other things that they shouldn't be. They need to be somewhere where their activity can be monitored, and then we can remove the ones that can't put their own politics above doing their job as a federal employee working for you and I, the taxpayer who funds their salary.
Well, and on that same note, I saw earlier that the Wall Street Journal had put something out that the Trump administration is considering selling off 2/3 of the office stock that's out there, because we got all these empty buildings, we got all these things that we're furnishing and paying for that's not being used. They're never going to be used because we're going to get rid of a lot of these people as well, and then as they filter out, just not replace those jobs at all. So there's definitely some serious changes that are happening right now. You got the left who are losing their minds and bringing lawsuits against Trump and Elon Musk for forming Doge. I mean, how dare somebody want the government to run efficiently? I mean, they're literally suing because Elon Musk wants to help make our government efficient. I mean, you can't even make this up at this point. I mean, it's a complete joke.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, it's not just here. They're also upset about things around the world. Like I said, the Globo Homo empire has come to an end. Pride flags removed from U.S. outposts worldwide. And you know what? I mean, this is a good thing from bottom to top. These are there for American interests. They're not there to promote your little special interest group, whether that's the LGBTQ agenda or Black Lives Matter or any other political constituency. They are there for American people and American values. They're not there to represent anything else. So again, I think this is good news for us and good news for the world. Let's not forget, there's a lot of countries where this is very unpopular at, and it has made some of our embassy employees and others targets because they're seen as propagandizing the people that live there locally to these agendas.
I mean, this is just common sense. I mean, I don't even know why we're having some of these conversations, honestly. It's common sense. Like, it's an American outpost. Like, no other flag should be flying there other than an American flag. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't understand why they wanted to do it to begin with. I don't understand why they're upset that we're making this change. It's not like he has said no more pride and BLM flags, but we're going to raise the Christian flag. I mean, he just said, no, we're going to, only the American flag can be flown there. I don't understand what the big deal is, to be honest with you. I don't understand why they're so upset, other than the fact that they've been able to push their agenda through on everybody else and force us to accept what they were wanting to do for so long, that this is the first time that they've been told no. And like a little kid, they're throwing a little temper tantrum because they're not used to any sort of pushback on these issues.
Well, yeah, I mean, they want to continue using public money to fund their private political agendas and using our government as a tool to further their policies. So that's going to stop. I mean, like you said, imagine if Trump said, we're going to start flying the Gadsden flag over U.S. embassies, or the come and take it. They would obviously say, well, that's political. Those are icons within the 2A and the other right wing resistance movements. So, for the same reasons, we shouldn't be flying those because it serves a political purpose, not a purpose that is fully aligned with just America and Americans' values. So, yeah, putting a stop to this is good news for everybody. And, they can cry about it all they want. Everybody knows what's been going on, and we're sick of it. So it ends. It's already ended, and you guys are just going to have to deal with it.
I don't think there's ever been a time in history where there was a group of military people who were pinned down by the enemy and they started cheering for joy when they saw the pride flag coming over the horizon to save the day. It's never happened. It's only the American flag.
If we're wrong about that, I want to hear the story, because I really want to know. All right, last thing, because I think we're about out of time here. Trump urged to continue his pardon spree for 21 peaceful pro-life advocates persecuted by the Biden DOJ. And again, we've already talked about this over the last few days. I agree 100%. These people are now sitting in jail due to FACE Act violations. Not only should they be freed, but we also need to look into the prosecutors in these cases and find out why this law was selectively enforced and why they got such harsh penalties for protesting in front of abortion clinics. I get it that this is, again, one of the religions of the left. Sacrificing their children to Moloch is part of what makes you a good Democrat. But again, we can't be using a weaponized government to target people for purely political reasons.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, a lot of these people were not even protesting. They were literally just praying outside of abortion clinics and got rounded up and thrown in prison. You're talking about, 60, 70-year-old women who've never done anything. They're just standing out there peacefully praying. They were coming after people for praying quietly to themselves, not even praying audibly out loud, but just standing there in front of the door praying to themselves and holding a Bible. They came after these people. It's unbelievable, the weaponization of government. I'm so happy that President Trump has already announced that he's going to not only get those people freed, but he's going to pardon them, clear their names, and get them back home with their families where they belong.
Yep. As we said, nature is healing, order is being restored, and this is just the start. We're not even a weekend yet. So just imagine how hysterical the left will be in 30 days and how much President Trump and the conservatives behind him will have accomplished in that time. But guys, we are out of time. Again, I want to thank you for joining us here today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. And we'll be back tomorrow with even more.